Hello guys, and in today's session I am going to talk about one of the most important topic of anthropology, and the name of topic is diffusionism. So this is the third theory of cultural thoughts, and this theory gives you immense information about how culture evolve at different center. So now first of all, you are watching this lecture on Masterstroke IS platform behalf, and myself K.Mukesh, teaching anthropology optional since last 17 years. And in this session, I'm going to give you a detailed discussion on the diffusionism. First of all, moves on the next slide, and let us understand what is diffusionism. And this is my request for every students. Whatever question that comes in your mind, so do ask your doubts, your queries, and your questions right now. And so first is, what is diffusionism? So see, this theory emerges in early 20th century, because the theory like the evolutionism that emerges in the mid 19th century, and especially the classical evolutionism that emerges, while the evolutionism that was emerges in the uh, 20th century. So according to this theory, diffusionism, in different part of the world, various cultural traits and cultural complexes develops in different time period. In different part of the world, various cultural traits and cultural complexes develops in different time period, and later it diffuses in all others remaining part of the earth through mutual contact, through migration, or through travelers. So now definitely one thing that comes in your mind, what is cultural traits and cultural complex. So cultural traits is basically the unit of culture. For example, in Indian cultural system, if you are going to consider dowry, so dowry is a cultural trait. The age of marriage, it is another cultural trait. Your even your in-house, your kitchen is one of the cultural traits. Where you just resides, that are the cultural traits. What is the common property? So common property, common kitchen, common residence, age of marriage, and dowry, these are the cultural traits. So dowry and marriage together constitutes what? Dowry and age of marriage determines what? Marriage. So marriage in itself is a cultural complex. Remember, dowry and age of marriage is a traits. Together it determines or forms a complex system that is called the marriage. So marriage is a cultural complex. Your common kitchen, as I already told you, your common kitchen, your residence, and your common property, your common residence, common property, and common kitchen, all together constitutes what? Joint family system. So joint family system is a cultural complex. Marriage is a cultural complex. Okay. So these are determined by a cultural trait. So many cultural traits together constitutes a cultural complex, and that later set a cultural pattern. So similar cultural traits in all of affairs, in all walk of life, not evolve at one place. It evolve at a different place or in different time period, and later through migration or through dispersal or through uh, mutual contact, it get diffuses in various part of the world, and in that way the growth of culture takes place. This theory actually concerned with the growth of culture, how culture grow across the world in all the part of the earth. So I am going to talk about this diffusionism. So first of all, just write down. First thing is this theory emerges in early 20th century. In early 20th century, and according to this theory, cultural traits cultural traits evolve in different part of the world, evolve in different part of the world at different time period. At different time period, these traits together constitutes these traits together constitutes cultural complex, and these complexes through migration or mutual contact or trade diffuses later in all part of the world. In all parts of the world. So this theory is basically based on this. Now definitely two questions comes in your mind. One is the what is cultural traits, and other is the what is cultural complex. So let's understand what is actually cultural traits, and after that I will tell you about what is cultural complex. So cultural traits are the unit of culture. Are the unit of culture that together constitutes what? Cultural complex. That together constitutes what? Complex. For example, marriage. Okay, marriage is a cultural complex. For example, joint family system. Joint family is another cultural complex. So joint family marriage is constituted by what? So for marriage, we need to arrange dowry. Dowry is one of the barrier. And another thing is the age. Without right age, we cannot allow the child to go for the marriage. So dowry and age determines the marriage. So dowry and age are the cultural traits, while marriage is the cultural complex. Similarly, in joint family system, there are some several traits that are common in nature. Like there is your kitchen. If it is common, here in this residence is common. In this property is also common. So common kitchen, common residence, and common property together constitutes joint family system. So for joint family system, these three are basic prerequisites. So now we are in the position to define what is cultural diffusionism. What is cultural diffusionism? So let's understand about cultural diffusionism. Cultural diffusionism. What is it? You see, diffusionism basically it is a process. What is it? It is a process by which cultural traits discovered. It is a process by which cultural traits are invented and later it spreaded or diffused in different society. So you can write here, it is a process. It is a process by which cultural traits discovered with cultural traits discovered with 1 second, right? It is a process by which cultural traits discovered or invented at one place. At one place or site. So this is the basic definition of the cultural traits. Remember all these things. And later it spread it and later it spread it or diffuses directly or indirectly, directly or indirectly, into the other society or places. We all know about these basic things. Even if you go through any book of anthropology, you will find these basic concepts. So this is the basic class, and after completing all these basics, again in second video of diffusionism, you will get advanced class. So in that class, I am separately going to deal about what is diffusionism again, and what is the various scholars, what were the various scholars associated with it, and how they define various elements of diffusionism, what are their perception, in what way they conclude, and what are all those proofs they added in their diffusionism. Because some of the anthropologists are simply armchair anthropologists, very few are field worker. Diffusionism arrived in those phases from where field work initiative got momentum, and from it only fieldwork get considered, and that's why, so whatever their fieldwork in terms of diffusionism, so we will discuss in details on that. In this lecture, I am going to discuss about the basics of the diffusionism, as I am right now discussing. So now the next thing is, what is the condition of the cultural diffusionism? So let us understand what are those conditions or criteria required for the diffusions. Next, make heading conditions of diffusionism, or how culture diffuses. What are the conditions basically? There are certain criteria or conditions. What are those conditions? First thing is, conditions means the way, conditions mean the criteria, conditions or criteria. First of all, understand about these conditions and criteria. I am going to talk about 4 or 5 conditions that are prerequisite for the cultural diffusion. The very first is, when you are visiting any temples or any holy place or any tourist spot, in that visit, you will get an opportunity to meet with people from all backgrounds. You meet people from the different part of that area, and in this course you are going to sometime borrow something, to sell something, to communicate with those even though not understand your languages. So whatever thing that attract you, you simply borrowed it. either through purchase or through whatever the means you are going to opt, and the thing will available. All these things determines, but in this course one thing that happens, this, and that is the diffusion of languages, diffusion of goods, items or services, and that way the thing will get diffuses. But in that visit, you are always giving importance to those objects that has some values, either social at the social front or at the economic front. So an object or the thing or the idea has some social implications, has some economic implications and values that get diffuses. The things those have some social or economic values or both. So one can write any cultural group adopt the culture traits of another cultural group at one condition, and that is their usefulness. Second thing is, in the course of diffusion, what happens after borrowing the things? But there is chance may you no longer kept the things in their original form, because it is a human nature. They are highly curious. They are going to either make the thing like that, they are going to use the thing like that. But because you live in different environment, your requirement are something different, and that's why the thing gradually loses their original conformation, and the thing either will get modified or will get changed. In that way, the cultural trait not remains more longer, rather they lost their original configurations or forms, and in that way the cultural trait changed over the or with the time. The third thing is this diffusion always takes place in terms of culture from higher to lower groups, from advanced to least advanced group, from developed to developing or non-developed group, or underdeveloped group or the underdeveloped culture. So there where peoples are on the higher culture, they transmit the traits towards the lower cultural group. Generally happens. Just take another example. What happened in society? Right now, you are living in any okay, in your in any advanced area, or you may belong to any elite group. So you will get lot of opportunity to move around the India or to move around the globe and get familiar with the cultures of others. You will follow them early. So whatever experiences that you have, whatever the goods and idea you have, so that goods and idea and experiences, I don't think will have to your family members, because your family lives in some rural area in village, so they are deprived from that. So only to you they get familiar about the culture of the different parts. Means what happened, because you improve your class, improve your rank, improve your status, you get familiar earlier, and you act like a mediator to pass the culture of the other groups towards the lower groups or lower cultural group. In that way the thing will get passed. In society the thing will happen in the same way. The culture of the higher class or higher caste passed into the lower caste or lower class. And what said by the Malinowski in their westernization concept, and the thing will applicable here. So next is here, what is the just remember here, what are the conditions of the diffusion of cultures? So a cultural traits must have social and economic importance that will pass easily or diffuse easily. Second, in the course of diffusion, in the course of diffusion, it loses its original conformation, original form or conformation, and that's why it is changeable, and therefore we can say it is a changeable. And the fourth is, third point is that it always pass from, it always diffuses from higher to lower cultural group, lower cultural group. So this is the thing that happens in that way. Now the next thing is, I'm going to discuss about the next thing, a school of diffusionism. A school of diffusionism. So remember all these things. As you know, there are, like evolutionism, there are three schools of diffusionism. One is the British school, British school. Other is the American school, and third one is the German school. German school. The main propounder of the British school is Smith. Main propounder of British school is the G.E. Smith. While the main propounder of American school was the French Boas, and the German school, that was the Ep Ratzel. Ep Ratzel. So they are the main propounder. Now, along with Smith or the Boas or the Ratzel, there are several co-workers. They support, and that's why they also considered as belongs to or any particular schools. So let's start British School of Diffusionism. British School of Diffusionism. British School of Diffusionism. What is British School of Diffusionism? Remember all these things. See, according to this school, Egypt was considered as the center of cultural cradles And from Egypt, various cultural traits later diffused into the other part of the world. So the propounder of this school is the D.E. Smith, W.J. Perry, W.J. Perry, wait a minute, now how many students watching this session? So I'm going to see, and if you are, if you have, okay, to write your comment, and if you have any question, also ask your question. I am here to answer you, because this is the one of the lecture of anthropology that need at least a longer discussion. And in the YouTube live stream, it is not practically possible for me to go everyday live. So interested candidate can join my online classes if you are not in the position to join the offline batch. And whatever the proper link, so I am going to share you on all those proper channel or the link, so that you can join us. So this is the master stroke telegram channel link. This is, so you can join this telegram channel group, or you can join or just message me on the WhatsApp number. And whatever your queries and questions, so you should ask your all queries or questions. I am here to answer everyone. And one more thing, just I want to say, because anthropology is one of those optional subjects that are more scoring, and definitely attract many students either belongs to the Hindi medium or the English medium. So medium is of course not a barrier. It's our fake perception about this optional will not pay in a Hindi medium or in and more pay in English medium. So sometimes what happens, because of medium you will not score as you were thinking. Of course your medium is English, so they not to keep yourself in keep yourself in any kind of illusion because of your medium is English and you will get good marks. You need a rigorous practice on whatever the previous year questions. You need to develop the skills. By using that, you can draw as much as diagram, especially in terms of physical anthropology. And only joining the lecture to YouTube, I don't think one can crack, because there are so many technical faults in the okay. It's better to join the regular class, either the offline or the online. In that class, you will get an opportunity to ask whatever question that raise in your mind throughout the lecture. Sometimes what happens, many students have several doubts, but they cannot ask because YouTube not allow us to do verbal communications. Even we cannot see each others, and without seeing each other, how one can deliver? Because we are human being, not a robots, and it's my perception. So in live class, we need a two-way communications, but in general what happens, people don't know how they communicate. So people came, watch the video, never ask any questions. Hardly very few people ask the questions. Just my humble request for everyone to at least ask the question. Anthropology is one of the shortest of the subject, as you all know, for civil services examination, but syllabus not seems like that. If you go through the syllabus, it will take time, at least 4 and 5 months for beginners or fresher. It will take a year to understand the depth of the syllabus without going through the entire syllabus, without reading 3 and 4 times the entire syllabus uh, and related content and the relevant books also. No one can understand the anthropology of it. It is as easier, but easier for those who already gone through this option subject. For beginners, it is not as easier as you think about. The reason is only one. This is one of the dynamic options, and in this option subject, you will get a lot of moment on that. Your mind is flooded up several kind of questions. So, in order to find the answer of all those questions that comes in your mind, you need a heuristic support. Every day, every moment, whatever question that raises in mind, how you can answer that. So to answer that kind of queries and questions in a better way, one need what? Logical, inquisitive, reasonable, and genuine answer, and only that develop when they start reading more and more. So you need to read the subject matter of anthropology as more possible, as many times go through and read. So guys, for today's I'm going to end this session, and in the second lecture I'm going to talk about all the schools and advanced lecture on the diffusionism. So for today's, thank you and bye. And if you have any question, anyone has any question, please do ask your questions. I am here to answer you, and I am here to give you all those answers that you are expecting from me